The Boston Tea Party did not happen in a vacuum. It was the culmination of growing tensions and escalating conflicts between the American colonists and the British government. To understand the significance of this event, we must first examine the key factors that set the stage for rebellion. The French and Indian War, also known as the 7 Years' War, was a costly conflict that left Britain with a substantial national debt. To recoup the war expenses, the British government turned to its American colonies, imposing a series of taxes that sparked widespread resentment among the colonists. The Stamp Act was one of the first direct taxes levied on the colonies, requiring them to pay a tax on all printed materials, including newspapers, legal documents, and playing cards. The colonists fiercely opposed the act, arguing that they should not be taxed without representation in the British Parliament. The slogan, "No taxation without representation," became a rallying cry. Protests and boycotts ensued, leading to the repeal of the Stamp Act in 1766. The British government continued its attempts to raise revenue from the colonies with the Townshend Acts, which imposed duties on imported goods such as glass, paper, paint, and tea. Once again, the colonists responded with boycotts and protests, and tensions between the two sides continued to escalate. The Townshend Acts were partially repealed in 1770, but the tax on tea remained. The presence of British troops in Boston heightened tensions further. On March 5, 1770, a confrontation between British soldiers and colonists turned violent, resulting in the deaths of 5 colonists. This event, known as the Boston Massacre, fueled anti-British sentiments and increased support for the colonial cause. The Tea Act was the final spark that ignited the flames of rebellion. Passed by the British Parliament in 1773, the Tea Act granted the British East India Company the exclusive right to sell tea directly to the colonies, bypassing colonial merchants. This effectively created a monopoly and allowed the company to sell tea at a lower price, even with the tax included. While the act lowered the cost of tea, it was seen as a direct attempt to force the colonists to accept British taxation without representation. Then, finally, on the night of December 16, 1773, in Boston Harbor, a group of colonists, disguised as Mohawk Indians, boarded 3 tea ships and dumped 342 chests of tea into the cold waters. This bold act, known as the Boston Tea Party, led by patriots like Samuel Adams and John Hancock, sent shockwaves through the colonies and Britain. The destruction of $10,000 worth of tea symbolized the colonists' rejection of British rule and desire for autonomy. The aftermath of floating tea leaves left a lasting impact, sparking both celebration and fear among the colonists.